And we say Sitaram to your listeners on Radio Jaagriti, 102.7 FM, our viewers on TV Jaagriti. Hey, those of you joining us home here in Trinidad and Tobago, regionally, internationally as well. Welcome to a special edition of Conversations right here on your number one radio and TV Jaagriti. Of course, at this time, you're accustomed to the program Straight Talk with our CEO, Mr. Lokesh Maharaj. But as we promised you last week, as we promised you on a Monday, when we had no program, we have a special guest with us in the studio, and we're having a special edition of the program, Straight Talk. Of course, we've got with us Professor Peter Baofu with us in studio. Sitaram, and welcome to Radio and the TV Jaagriti.
Thank you.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about Peter Baofu.
Well, I am an American author and visionary. I have written more than 160 books in all fields of knowledge, in the social sciences, in the humanities, in the formal sciences, and in the humanities. And I try to propose more than 128 different new theories and visions about the human future in relation to the mind, nature, culture, and society. Ultimately, for some unified theories of everything, not just one, but several of them. And I have been in more than 100 different countries around the world. And I do that intentionally in order to understand humanity on the ground, not just by reading a documentary or watching a film and all that.
Is it kind of like a repeat of history?
Yes and no. I also propose one of the 128 theories is one theory is a unified theory of everything. I propose 3 of them so far. One of them is I propose more than 71 principles governing the behaviors and action and entities in the entire universe. And one of the principles over here is I said that everything in the universe is something which is cyclical, is always something which is linear, which means that thing can go back to a circle to repeat itself, but there are also things which also going linear too. So it's not that one or the other, yes in a way, but no, it doesn't repeat. So the answer is not yes or no. The answer is yes and no. It repeats itself, but it also will not repeat itself.
Okay.
So, that's what I call the existential dialectics. This is the competing forces in history and in the universe. So we can see that in history already, many things can be repeated, and you see them quite often, but they also do not repeat because they don't happen in the same way. Violence is a good example. Criminality is another good example. Prostitution is another good example. Drugs, another. War is an example. Do I foresee that in the future one day there will be no war, no criminality, no drugs, no prostitution, no nothing, everything will be nice, holy, and all that? I think this is just a wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking.
But they will not repeat in the same way. They will be different. In fact, another theory is about the future of sexuality. In the future, you still have prostitution, but not in the same way that we did before.
Okay.
So you see that is another dimension. I have written, I have a vision about everything, no matter what it is.
As you mentioned, your vision of China becoming the dominant world power. Using China as a model, can we as a small society here in Trinidad, a small country as Trinidad, gain some of the respect that China is gaining?
That is a very good question. But by the way, that book is titled Beyond the World of Titans and the Remaking of World Order, in which I spoke about the emergence of new powers, and in this case China and also India, and then you have the EU and the US, but those would be number 3 and number 4, but then you have some other powers too. But you asked the question, small powers, how can they survive? Repeat itself, but also do not repeat itself again. Small powers in human history, they often follow certain patterns. Is that if they are small, they cannot fight the big guys. So how can you fight the big guys? Well, you have to manipulate the big guys so that each of them could be nice to you in a way.
You become a friend of them.
Yeah.
You befriend them.
If you are one here, one giant and one giant, I cannot fight you, but I will be nice to you in case you beat me. I say hello, hi.
You go in the other direction.
Can you help me out? If you beat me out, I say, well, hello. Can you beat me out? So small powers are often very clever. They often manipulate, but some of them sometimes they make mistakes. It's just like sometimes you can be very emotional, you can be very angry, and then you make some judgments which turns out to be incorrect, and they will swallow you, or they will attack you or conquer you or colonize. So Georgia is a good example. Georgia provoked Russia. They think that Georgia made a mistake in siding with the US and the EU, they will be fine. Russia could never dare to attack. They did. And now they still occupy some of the... So when you provoke them, you give them that excuse to come in and take you. Venezuela is another good example. Now there is the opposition and the government somehow they do not get on. They fight now. Yeah, now the opposition is inviting some major powers to come in and fund them and help them. This is very bad for Venezuela because it is the same problem in Libya, in Yemen, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Mali, and all that. So you have a chance. You have an opportunity, but you also have some pitfalls that you have to avoid.
Be careful of.
But people sometimes make mistakes in life.
Yeah. So, Professor, we're quickly out of time. It certainly was a pleasure having you here. And as you can tell, listeners and viewers, there's so much that we can talk about and certainly keep going on and on and on. I've got an extensive list here that I can just pull any topic from, and Professor would be able to elaborate on it. But once again, thank you very much for joining us and sharing this hour with us here on Radio and TV Jaagriti.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation.
So here's where we wrap up this special edition of the program, Conversations, right here on your number one Radio and TV Jaagriti. News at 5 is up next.